just imagine, right? Okay, so these are thoughts I had after I turned the camera off. This always happens though. Well, I think of shit after, but I usually would just leave it. But nah, I want to bring this shit up. Imagine you had a daughter, right? As a guy, as a future father or father right now. Imagine you have a daughter, right? And you take her to a swim meet, let's just say. And you see someone who's damn near taller than you, damn near got the same amount of muscles as you, and damn near voice is damn near as deep as yours. How would you feel about that? In all honesty, how would you feel about that? You bringing your daughter to her competition, and you see a competitor who looks just like you, who looks just like you, bro. I would be like, man, I'm sorry, honey, but I don't think you should do this. And it's not to shoot her dreams down, it's just to be logical. Like, it don't make sense. Like what Lil Boosie said, get out the pool. Get out the pool.
Yeah, bro. I mean, get your ass out the pool. It's not acceptable in my mind.
You know, don't fight me though, bro. Don't fight me. I'm just saying, like, you gotta be fair, you know? Oh, man. I had the whole fucking video recorded. No audio. The second time this shit happened, right? But just like the first time, I got my ass up and I'm like, man, I'm gonna record this shit anyway, man. So, context time. So Lia Thomas spent 21 years. Yo, I don't mean to laugh, but like, I'm seeing more people cover this topic here, and this shit is just funny. It's America, man. But yeah, so Lia Thomas spent 21 years as a man, and she just started competing against the women in swimming this year. So she transitioned, okay? So she's a transgender. So, you know, 21 years as a man and decided to transition into becoming a woman this year, right? I just want y'all to take that in for a minute, just in case you don't know about this topic, or, you know, you're not into like the more current events, that kind of thing. I just want y'all to hear that shit and take it in for what it is, okay? 21-year-old man decided to transition to a woman and compete in women's sports. America, man. That's 2022 for you. and beyond. But yeah, that's that progressive, I was gonna say bullshit, but that's that progressive agenda, bro. And I don't see this shit changing anytime soon. This is the type of thing where it's like, yo, this is the type of thing where it's like, the legislators and the people that make these decisions that allow this to happen, I don't know, man. We gotta go back to the drawing board. And there was one comment that I saw that I was like, let me address it real quick. Somebody was like, they should give like the transgenders their own league or something like that. I'm like, man, that sounds good. You know what I'm saying? It sounds good. But nobody gonna watch no fucking transgender sports, man. I mean, come on. Let's be real here. I mean, come on. I mean, of course you'll have, of course. Okay, let me not go to the extreme. But of course you'll have some people who will watch that shit. Majority of the people is not watching no fucking transgender sports, bro. I mean, be real. Can we be real here? I like the idea because at least you keeping them away from, you know, the women's sports and making it fair in that regard, but be real. I mean, come on. There's gonna be no resources, like serious resources, put into a transgender sports league, man. I mean, be real. Don't get me wrong. This is America, man. Who knows? Well, like 10 years down the line, what this shit might hold. But in all honesty, I don't see that happening. But it's a good idea, though. Now, Boosie had some comments on this shit, and you already know he could be a little controversial. That's why I fucks with him. I'm not gonna lie, that's why I like him. And I find it funny how people so like vehemently, new word for you. I had to look that shit up because I knew that it was like an emphasis kind of word, so I just had to make sure I was right about that. So people like vehemently disagreed with him on like his comments about Dwayne Wade's, you know, family situation, but they vehemently agreed with him on this situation. And I want y'all to hear, like, it's two different parts, but I want to address this first part right here, okay?
Man,
yeah,
we let that shit go down in 5-10 years. They gonna have kids raising their children to be big, strong motherfuckers, then turn into women and take over the sport and get $1 million contracts.
I heard that shit, right? I like how passionate he is about this, because it's like, from a future father, right? Just imagine you have a freaking daughter. You know, like I said in my damn intro, imagine you have a daughter who spent all this time working, practicing, you know, improving her strengths, you know, working on her weaknesses, getting up to that point to where she's able to compete in this type of thing, just to be beaten and to lose to that type of thing. It's sickening to me, man. To address what he said exactly, right? I could imagine that there's probably some parents out there who telling their son, like, okay, Brad, as soon as you turn 21, you're allowed to transition and let's go. Let's dominate these women's sports, man. I feel like that's the type of shit that happened. Cause now I start to wonder, like, what made Lia Thomas want to transition? What brought this about at such a late age, and then to transition and then start competing in women's sports? Like, that has to be pre-thought of. Like, that's some predisposed shit. Like, that's not something she just thought of out of the blue, man. And I just saw another article. I'm gonna leave that shit in the description. I just saw this shit. That said, like, there was a girl on the team, the same swim team. It's anonymous, of course. You know, that makes it. I respect her for doing that. But that said that Lia Thomas, I guess before the transition happened, was competing in the men's swimming and was getting, like, I want to be a little politically correct here. Before the transition, Lia Thomas was getting outclassed and outmatched completely in the men's swimming. I think that's all that needs to be said about that. And that's a big explanation. It could be a big reason why Lia Thomas decided to transition. Let me compete in the women's sports and dominate that shit, because I'm getting outclassed in the men's sports. You see the fucked up part about that shit, bro? But this is America, man. This is America for you. This type of shit is okay. This type of shit can fly. And I'm sure maybe this happens overseas somewhere, but for the most part, this is some crazy shit that don't make sense and it shouldn't happen. And so this relates back to something I remember I did do a video on this about, like, I guess it was either high school or college. You know, a guy transitioned to a girl and was dominating the wrestling league. Just like I said, I just want to bring it to a lower level so y'all can understand. Imagine you had a daughter, right, that's training in the wrestling. Let's just say wrestling. All her life fighting against girls, you know, having even matchups and shit like that. You know, give or take, you're not gonna win everything, but, you know, just having even matchups. They get to college, let's just say. They get to college, and then they gotta fight someone who's, you know, just as strong as her fucking older brother. Her competition is just as strong as her damn older brother, or her uncle, or her fucking father, or her grandfather. You see the point I'm trying to get at, right? You see the irony there, right? You see the craziness there, right? Your daughter training her whole life in this sport, fighting against evenly matched competition. Now all of a sudden she gotta fight against someone who's just as strong as her fucking uncle, or her older cousin, or her older brother. I just want y'all to imagine that for a minute. And don't get me wrong, they gotta compete somewhere, but it's not fair at the end of the day. It's just not. And just a little side note, if you notice, it's always, you know, men transition. Shit. I'm sorry. Yeah, let me relax. It's always men transitioning to women to compete in their sports. It's never vice versa. And just with that, in that regard, not necessarily transitioning, but how a few years ago they was trying to say, like, Brittany Griner could play in the NBA. In the back of my mind, I'm like, wait, are they really serious? I know that was around the time of this whole progressive shit started happening, but in the back of my mind, I'm like, this is a fucking joke. I know I know what they're trying to do. Like, I know what they're trying to do. I know what they was trying to do there, but that's a fucking bad idea. Because then you already know there's gonna be some players who try to take it easy on her. You know, they don't want to put the muscle into her chest and all that shit. That's gonna happen. But just the fact that they brought that idea up is fucking ludicrous to me. And DJ Vlad brought up a very good point. He said, like, what if KD was to put on a wig and go play in the WNBA? Now, here's my thing. What if LeBron decided to transition, right, and go play in the WNBA? How do you think that would last? How do you think that would go? Because you gotta know, right? And something I recently, I guess, found out about this. When they transition, they gotta suppress their testosterone. Like their testosterone levels are checked. And they gotta suppress it as much as possible. And they gotta take estrogen, like estrogen pills or whatever the case is. But no matter what they do, no matter how much estrogen they take, that man that transition to a woman is always gonna be physically stronger than that competition, those women competitors. How is that fair? That makes no sense to me. And then in this regard, the fact that before she transitioned, she was getting asked in the men's competition, the men's sports, like that should say a lot to you. Like, I mean, shit. I mean, come on. Like, let's put two and two together. She couldn't compete in the men's sports. Okay, let me go transition to become a woman and then go compete in women's sports. That makes sense, right? Now back to the LeBron thing, right? It's just a hypothetical, of course. It'll never happen, but just imagine that though. It's pretty much the same thing. It would just be outclassed. No chance, no competition. Imagine LeBron like transitioning, right? His built, like his structure and shit, and that'll always be there. Of course, it's gonna be suppressed a little bit, but the majority of that shit is always gonna be there. Feminists, where y'all at? Where y'all at in this regard? Y'all think this shit is okay? Y'all should be fighting for women's equality. This is not okay. The naturally born women have no chance against this shit. It's not okay. Where y'all at? Where y'all at? Oh my god, for real. Yeah. So just imagine, right? You have a daughter, right? Like 4 years old or whatever the case is. She about to get into, let's say, swimming, you know, for this example. She's about to get into swimming, right? And, you know, evenly matched competition her whole life, pretty much. She gets to a college campus, right? She goes to her first swim meet and sees that as a competition. Sees that on the swim team. How do you think she's gonna respond? You know, like that's not fit. Like, and then as a parent, what do you tell her? How do you explain this shit to her? Like, yes, honey, this is America. Like, I honestly have no answer for that. Like, how do you tell your daughter, like I said, who's been evenly matched pretty much her whole life with her competition, to end up in college or even major leagues and playing against that? Explain to me, please. Someone in the comment section, explain it to me. Like, it's not fair. It's not close to being fair. I don't know how they could really address this situation without being called transphobic and all that other, you know, alienating comments, but it gotta be addressed somehow. This shit, like, if my daughter was on that team and she called me, I would be like, well, I'm sorry, but I don't know what to tell you. And I never want to be that disappointing to my damn daughter. But like, what do you tell her? Man, let me know what y'all think, man. Seriously though, let me know what y'all think, man. Down in the comment section below, if you made it to the end of the video, I really appreciate it. Like, comment, subscribe. Thank you, and more videos coming soon, man. Ah!